guys, so we are back at my other house. We're not at the shop today, and I have a little project going on that I wanted to kind of show you guys. Maybe not for the Fox Body crew, but it's, you know, people who like, you know, have Tacomas and, you know, trucks or whatever. But anyway, the project I have today is I'm doing new carpet. I have it, it's on order, it should be here today, and what I'm doing is I'm just basically starting to remove the seats, this floor mat here that was kind of tied into the center console, and you know, all the the side rails and all that, just to get the carpet out. So, oh, and I really haven't gone over I really haven't gone over what I've done so far to the truck. I've been kind of waiting till I get a few things done before I make a video about it. But so what we did, we lowered the car, and I got the kind of the way I want it to look, with the chrome trim rings and some like old school like lug nuts that are chrome, but they're kind of like a little bullet style. They stick out just a little bit, not too like gaudy or anything like that. Got some new tires. I think that was in the last video. I had the new tires. So you can see kind of the stance of after lowering it 2 inches back here. The front, actually I didn't do anything to. The front hasn't had any lowering at all. So I really like the way it sits. So at the moment, I'm not really driving it because I had to order a throttle position sensor. The one that was on here was going out. That's a very common thing with these, to go bad. And what I did to figure out why it was going bad was it kept throwing a check engine light for throttle position sensor. So I read on the forums that it may not be that. It may be like throttle body cleaning or whatever, or the EGR may be plugged up. So I went through and did all that, cleaned up the EGR, cleaned up the throttle body, cleaned the mass air and all that, and I still got the code. So I went and bought a scanner. Let's see. This is the scanner I bought, Actron auto scanner, and this is like a little bit more expensive one than just for reading codes. So what I could actually do was I could read the throttle position sensor percentage. So, you know, when you put the throttle down, you can see the percentage go up and down. And let me put this back. Anyway, yeah, you could see the percentage going up and down. And like right at idle, if you would just barely touch the throttle, you could get the percentage to jump around. So it's definitely the throttle position sensor starting to go bad. So I should get that tomorrow, and I'll be back on the road. But other than that, the thing runs perfect. All right, so we got the carpet out completely. Everything looks really good. It looks like, I don't know if this is factory or not, but there's some kind of like Dynamat or something like that. I don't know. I do know when I bought this, there was an amp, pretty good size amp that was bolted here. So they might have had like subwoofers are in here or something like that, and they were just trying to quiet down under the seat. I don't know, but I'm gonna leave it. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, I guess. Everything's really solid. There's no rust whatsoever. So yeah, this was definitely, you could tell it's definitely a Florida car. Never been in salt or anything like that. That's what kills these the most, is the salt. So because we're gonna have fresh carpet, it's gonna smell real nice. That's the main reason why I want to do the carpet, because there's kind of an odor when I get in the car. But that's to be expected. I mean, the car's, it's a 98, and you know, you drive this to work, you spill your coffee, you're not gonna rip the seat out every single time you spill your coffee to steam clean it. So there's, you know, it's pretty stinky. So my dog is out here. You wanna go inside? Come on, let's go inside. No, you're not going in there. This dog loves to go for car rides. Hi, honey.
What are you doing? You better not be taping.
I'm always videotaping.
What are you videotaping? You gotta warn me. I'm like a hot mess.
My wife's like, you have to warn me. Women. Anyway. All right, so while I was doing the carpet, this showed up, the new throttle position sensor. So yeah, I went with an OEM Toyota one because I heard that some of the aftermarket Chinese ones that are like $15, $20, they only last a few months. So this is an original Toyota one that was like $55, so about 3 times the cost. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this, and that way I can start the car and see if that check engine light goes away. So let me do that. It's a pretty straightforward deal. I mean, it's just 2 screws, so there's really no need to videotape that. It's really simple. So let me get that done. All right, we got the throttle position sensor put back in. Pretty simple, just 2 bolts, and then there's a then your plug. Is that plug right here? Clips in. Okay, so what I did was I basically went online and looked at, just read over the forums and just to see what the common deals were with these cars. They sold a lot of these trucks, probably like 200,000 trucks a year. So it's some crazy number. But so there's a lot of information out there, and one thing you want to note on these is check all your vacuum lines. I found a whole bunch that were cracked and weren't holding vacuum, so I replaced this one. I replaced this one off the breather here, off the valve cover. What else? I replaced a couple of these. There's a junkyard near my house where I went and took a few lines off of another Tacoma over there, and then I also went and just bought, I spent like $20 and bought like 4 different size hose, vacuum hose. Okay, ended up being like $22. So if you try to go to Toyota and get like the original factory hoses, you're gonna pay a bunch of money. Like for instance, this one here that goes from this port here over to this, I think it's called the VSV valve, or vacuum canister valve or whatever. It goes here, it wrapped around here, and it was like bent a certain way. That's like $50 from Toyota. This one here, $3. So yeah, I went through and replaced all of the vacuum lines that were suspect. The one off the fuel pressure regulator, that one was leaking. What else? Oh yeah, another one off of this little valve here. This is a vacuum, some kind of a vacuum valve. That's brand new. I just replaced that because the other one had, let's see if I still have it. So yeah, this little vacuum valve here, I found a video on YouTube about this going bad a lot, and this truck is a 98, so it's pretty old. There's like a little diaphragm in here that moves up and down with vacuum, and if you pull this off and try to pull vacuum on the bottom of it, like just you can suck on it and see if it holds vacuum, then it's okay. But if it doesn't, then you probably have a bad diaphragm inside. And you can see the one that came out of that one. I mean, look at it, it's just destroyed. It was actually not even attached to anything. It was just flopping around in there. So that was bad. So I replaced that. Those are not that expensive. I think it was like 20 or 30 bucks. So if you have an older Tacoma, check that. What else? cleaned the mass air. It was pretty dirty. Cleaned out the throttle body. The hole, okay, that goes through where the EGR connects to the side of the manifold. There's a hole that goes all the way through. It's just a single hole that goes through into the manifold. This one was completely clogged. It was nothing could pass through it. So what will happen if your car has a plugged EGR hole is it'll run very rich because it's not getting the extra air. So that was part of the reason why I was getting bad gas mileage. So that's all cleared out. I just used like a pipe cleaner, like a gun barrel cleaner. And first I ran a drill bit through it. And what I did was, instead of having to take the entire manifold off, I just put my shop vac extension in here to where the hole lines up, left it running, and then I ran a drill bit through here by hand and cleared it out. And then I took like a pipe cleaner and cleaned it all out. Now it's perfectly clear. And I could hear it whenever it was, when I was cleaning it, it was getting sucked into my shop vac. So that's a little tip you can use to not have to take the entire intake off, because you don't want all that stuff dropping down into your cylinders. So a little bit is not really a big deal. I mean, it is just carbon. Carbon is not something that's gonna destroy your engine or anything like that. It'll just kick it right out the exhaust. So, okay, so this is the code I was getting, P0120, throttle position sensor. So this little code reader, it's a little bit more expensive than the other ones. It's like $110 for this one. They have them on Amazon. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. If not, just click, just type Actron in Amazon, and then you'll see it. It's the first one that comes up. It's like 110 bucks. So anyway, so let's go back here to, first thing we'll do is we're going to erase that code, because I just replaced the throttle position sensor. Okay. And we're going to reset the code so that we can make sure that everything's going to be working okay. So it's working. All right, command sent. So what I want to do is this code reader is really nice. It has this thing where you can view data. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. So it's compiling a list. So we're going to look at the entire list. So right here, absolute TPS. That's your throttle position sensor. Okay. So as you can see, if I put my foot on the gas and I move it down slowly, you can see it starting to climb. 14, 15, 18, 20, 24, 28, and then to the floor, 78. Okay, so I've read that's normal to go from like 11, 12 up to 78 or 77. So once we start the car, it should drop a little bit down to around 10%, and then so that's where I was having a problem. This was jumping to 0, then back to 5, then back to 12, then back to 0, then 12, and right now it's holding pretty steady. So let's see if we can start it and see what happens. So there, it dropped down to 11, and it gives you your RPMs, gives you your intake air temperature. It gives you your ignition advance, your MAF, pounds per minute. What else? You can scroll through it, and while the engine's running, you can look at your MILS status. So that would be the malfunction indicator lamp, and that's off. I'm not sure what those are. I'd have to look that up. Vehicle speed, 0. So yeah, it's basically reading everything off the OBD. So Yeah, so far so good. It's riding real smooth. I mean, the thing is just really, really smooth. So I think that may have been the problem, the throttle position sensor. I mean, before, I mean, the engine would like shake. You could see it like literally shaking like this, but now it's like, as you can tell, that's actually, the reason it's moving is because of the fan's blowing it. but yeah, trust me, it's running a lot smoother than it did before. So all the vacuum lines, throttle position sensor, this valve here, this vacuum valve, and yeah, it runs like a brand new truck. So I recommend that. You know, if you have a Tacoma, check all those out. And we got no check engine light. It's staying off. Before it would come right on. So yeah. All right, we're on the. Let's go back up to the throttle position sensor. There it is. It's on 11.4 right now. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then yeah, and there's absolutely no hesitation now. Before there was like a little bit of a blip in the throttle, like it would be like like that, and then try to go. That's classic throttle position sensor. So that was a pretty cheap fix, and you know, hopefully it helps somebody out there with a Tacoma that may have an issue like that. So I mean, it's running perfectly smooth. All right, so there you have it. Like I said before, hopefully this helps someone out that's working on a Tacoma or whatever. This, like I said, they made millions of these trucks, so I'm sure someone out there probably has the same problem as this. So get you one of those code readers. That's a good investment. $100. I mean, you're going to save so much money and headache of having to drive to an auto parts store, and hopefully they'll read the code for you for free. And then what they're going to do is they're going and get the one that you can read all your outputs, you know, like the active outputs. Get that one, because if you got one that just reads the code, you're going to go online and you're going to find 100 different things that you should replace because of that one code. When you have the outputs, you can actually see each thing and say, okay, this looks normal, this looks normal, and you can Google that and make sure. But anyway, yeah, get you one of those code readers. I highly recommend it. It's going to save you time and money. But yeah, like I said before, hopefully this helps someone out fix their truck. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.